A lot of people think that they need to play games in order to become game developers. And while it's not mandatory for anyone to play games to become a game developer, I think that every game developer should also play games. With this, I don't mean that game developers should play games every day and spend hours and hours playing. No. As a game developer, if you are working on your game, you don't have time to play other games every day, and that is totally fine. And this aspect of playing games is more for relaxation and entertaining purposes. But I'm talking about playing games in order to improve your game development skills. Yes, you heard it right. Playing games as a game developer will improve your game development skills. So, what are the benefits of playing games as a game developer? The first and most important thing is you will get new game ideas. And while some might think that this is stealing, no, it's not. I'm not saying use the same game idea and just copy paste it into your own project. I'm saying use the game idea from a game that you played and improve it. Add your own touches and make it a unique game. And I know there will be a lot of people who will say, but I want to create my own unique game idea, something that no one else has created before. What a lot of game developers need to understand, especially beginners, is that rarely you will come up with your own unique idea, be that regarding game development or something else. Because simply put, it's very hard to think of something that no one else has ever thought about, especially nowadays. And I'm not saying it's impossible to come up with something unique, but I'm saying it will take you a lot of time to do so. Time that you can use to convert an already existing game idea into your own by adding your touches and signatures to that idea. Coming up with game ideas is not the only benefit that you will get from playing games. You will also learn about storytelling in video games. When you play a video game that has a good story, you will get a feel of how to do it yourself. You will understand what it takes to pull your players into the world of your game, and most importantly, how you can achieve that yourself. There is a saying that goes, it's not the same when you hear and when you see. You can hear about some game, how good it is, and how good the story and the gameplay are, and all of that stuff. But when you play that game and get to experience that on your own, you will understand how that game managed to create such a good story and gameplay. And most importantly, you will be able to implement that in your own games. Speaking of gameplay, that's also something that you can learn from playing video games. Have you ever played a game and didn't quite feel that game? Maybe you played a shooter game and the aim was awful, or you played some RPG game but the spells you casted were not killing the enemies. Or maybe you played some racing game and the steering controls were just bad. Well, that game didn't create a good gameplay feeling, and as a result, you probably stopped playing that game. And this is an issue that a lot of game developers face. They have a good game idea and the game assets look great, but they fail to create a fun and engaging gameplay, and thus their fans stop playing the game. By playing different video games, you will understand how to create a fun and engaging gameplay experience, which will make your game awesome. Next on the menu are game characters. Playing video games will allow you to explore different worlds with different characters, which will help you make your game characters amazing. And I know that some people will say, but what is so complicated about creating a game character? You simply draw it or model it if it's a 3D character, and there you go. Well, it's not only about creating the game character as the game asset. You also need to think about his signature moves, gestures, quotes, his animations, attacks, special attacks, abilities, and so on. The same thing goes for the enemies in your game. Instead of making some boring and dull enemies that only use one or two moves when they attack your character, you will experience different enemies in different games, which will give you ideas how to not only create enemies for your game, but also make them interesting. Just think about how many games have main characters or enemy characters who became icons of that game, and everyone knows these games because of those characters. This will not only allow you to make your game stunning, but also create sequels of your game and still make it interesting to play. Another very important component of every game that is often overlooked by indie game developers are the menus. Main menu, options menu, pause menu, and so on. Menus are part of every game, and creating cool and interesting menus will definitely make your game look more stunning and make it feel more professional. Of course, your menus don't have to be packed with tons of animations, particle effects, and other mumbo jumbo, but it should blend with the game itself. For example, creating menus that are easy to navigate and use is essential for every game. Your players don't have to think to figure out what is the purpose of every menu in your game. And if you're creating an inventory menu, the menu should be self-explanatory, or it should have little notes that will explain to the user what is the purpose of each item on the menu and how to use it. By playing different games and experiencing different menus, you will understand how to create menus for your own game. If you want to create a game with characters, then you should know that one of the most complex things to create in a game is the character progression and reward system. This is especially noticeable in RPG games where you have crafting systems, combat systems, spell systems, and so on. And 2D games are not different than 3D games in this aspect. So no matter which game you create, be that 2D or 3D, if it has game characters in it, you want to create a character progression system. The best way to get a feel how this works is by playing other games where the character is progressing. That way you will get ideas, tips, and tricks how to make your game more interesting with your own unique character progression system. If the game you're creating is a mobile game, then you want to monetize it to earn money from your game. And for mobile games, you have two choices: implementing ads in your game or in-app purchase, or even both. If you want to implement ads in your game, you need to do it in a way that will not annoy the users who are playing your game, because you don't want to show ads every few minutes in your game, even though that will earn you more money. But if your users get annoyed by that, they will uninstall your game, so no money for you. By playing other mobile games, you will see how they implemented their ad system and how they are showing ads in their games. And if you don't feel annoyed by the ads while playing the game, then you can implement that in your own games. The same thing goes for in-app purchase. The items that you sell in your game need to make sense to the player so that he will buy them. For example, buying more extra points to progress in the game, or special weapons, or even buying a new game character. But again, you need to place these things strategically in your game so that your users don't get annoyed, or your game doesn't feel hard to beat without spending money to achieve that. By playing other games who have good in-app purchase systems, you will understand how to do that for your game as well. Of course, there are other things that you can learn by playing video games, but I'm going to stop here because the video is already long. And if you like this video, then like it, share it, and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments below if you want me to share more things that you can learn by playing video games, and if you like this format of videos that I'm doing lately. I also have some links in the description that will help you learn game development, so make sure to check them out. And until then, I will see you guys in the next video.